Hello and welcome to University Television Presents. I'm your host, Ashley Cox, and today we are here with Toon and Phil Merrell, and we are going to discuss the Application Makers Competition, the Appathon. So Karen, Phil, can you both explain what the Appathon is?
Well, the Appathon is a weekend-long coding event where students will, from start to finish, build a device or a mobile application, such as something like Angry Birds or something along that line.
Awesome. And then when and why did this kind of competition start?
Well, in January of 2012, Max came to me with an idea of having a weekend-long event to engage the students and provide real-world experience, along with the ability for us as a department here on campus to be able to identify new talent for new employees. Gives them an idea of how to work with hard deadlines, and it just seemed like a good idea.
Fantastic. And then who supports the Appathon financially?
There's a variety of people. It's all donations. This year, we're proud to announce that the Association of the Associated Students of Boise State University is going to be sponsoring this, along with the College of Business and Economics. College of Engineering also helps, and then we have local, regional, and nationally known companies that are donating to the event.
Awesome. Do you know who those companies are?
We're still working for this year, but in the past we've had Oracle, IBM, Dell, White Cloud Analytics is local, Clearwater. Phil, do you remember some others?
Those are the ones I can think of.
But yeah, and this year we actually were approached by, let's see if I get it, First to File CPA. They're a local CPA company that deals with intellectual property, and they have requested to be our primary sponsor this year. They just came out of the blue. So our name is getting out there.
It's a good opportunity for them to find talent as well. And some of the companies that come on board, there'll also be judges for the competition. And so, yeah, it's a really beneficial thing for students and people who want to support it. Yeah.
So obviously BSU students can participate. Anybody else in the community, or are you leaning just towards the students at Boise State?
Just full and part-time students from Boise State. Okay. So if they're just taking one class and want to participate, they're more than eligible.
Awesome. And then what's the benefit for the Appathon having it on campus, and especially for students involved in the COBE program or the engineering program? What's the benefit for them?
It's a fun event. You get to rule the ILC for a whole weekend, essentially. And so lots of teams will go in there, and you'll have a whole classroom to yourself and all the whiteboards, so you can basically plan your idea. And then it's all catered. It's just a great way to kind of have some fun and be in a competition and have a free catered weekend in the ILC. So it's pretty fun.
Perfect. So as you mentioned, this is a whole weekend event. And so for each day-to-day, what's kind of the outline or what they do every day?
Well, we'll start off the Appathon with a keynote speaker on Friday the 7th at 4:30 p.m. We're still working on the actual location for that keynote. And then about 6 o'clock, everybody will scope out their rooms where they're going to work for the entire weekend. We have to kind of manipulate some of the room availability due to existing classes and classes going on during the weekend. And then they work. We have a central location where everybody can come for their food, their drinks. We provide all foods, all snacks, and all drinks for the entire weekend for all of the participants, plus the volunteers. Because we're not just going to stick the students in a building and let them run wild. We actually have somewhere between 20 and 30 volunteers that come from the Office of Information Technology that they're there along with the students for that entire weekend, and that is including midnight to 6 a.m. time period. We have people there. And the first year we had it, everybody was very secluded and very protective of what was going on. Last year we had 2 and 3 teams working at the same table. There was such more collaboration. And the reason we needed to do that is our event grew so quickly. First year we had 30 students making up approximately 11 teams. last year we had 64 students making up 23 teams. Due to space constrictions, we had to find some way of being able to get everybody a location, so they could have time to work.
That's awesome. And you mentioned keynote speakers on the first night. So who are some of the speakers that you've had in the past? And also, what speakers do you try to attract to come here?
Our very first year, which was 2012, was
Ryan Woodings.
Thank you.
Yep.
MetaGeek.
Yep.
Yes. And then this last year, 2013, it was Amy Moll, Dean of College of Engineering. Her focus was to get more women into the engineering and the sciences. And so that's kind of where her talk went. And as I mentioned, this year, our keynote is going to be about the technical aspects of the intellectual property.
Awesome. Do you have that keynote speaker for this year nailed down already?
We have the company, not the actual individual person. Yeah.
Awesome. And what is the company?
It's the First to File.
Oh, okay, yes.
Is that CPA? Yeah.
Awesome. And then about how many teams or people do you expect to participate this year as the numbers keep growing?
I think we pretty much have maxed out at 23 teams.
Oh, wow.
I think we're limiting it this year to 20 teams because there's a few more classes going on and everything. But knowing the way Max, my supervisor, likes to include things or include everybody, he will most likely do whatever we can to do to accommodate everyone that wants to participate. We've already received 4 teams registered, so.
Is there a certain number of people that can be on a team, or is it as big as they'd like?
4 to 5.
It's a maximum of 4 people.
Yeah.
So your team could consist of just yourself, or a pair, trio, or up to 4.
We've had people that did single, their own team in the past, and it worked out really well.
Yeah, they did everything themselves.
Yeah.
Wow. And then can you talk about how the Appathon went last year and who won the actual competition, and then why did they win? Why was their app so good?
Sure. So the winning app last year was it was intended to replace the clickers, like the hardware clickers in classes. And it was an app that was basically just a polling app. They made like an instructor interface where an instructor could type the questions and then the potential answers. And then it would go up on the big screen, and then every person in the audience was able to answer the question, and then it would update the graph in real time.
Oh, wow.
And so, yeah, they managed to accomplish that over a weekend. And yeah, it was really impressive. And I think what set them apart from the other teams is like the showmanship. Like a lot of people, they demonstrate their app, but this was an app that they built that everyone in the audience participated in and could see it working in real time. So I think that was probably the thing that set them apart.
That's awesome. And then how are the apps judged specifically for each team?
We bring in a lot of different people. Like we have the mobile development, the associate manager of mobile development here on campus, local industry leaders that come in, like from White Cloud Analytics, Clearwater, all of those that are judges, and there's specific criteria that they set down ahead of schedule, and they just give them a rating of what's going on, and then they tally the scores and go from there. But they're looking for, well, I think the biggest one I can think of right now is the wow factor. How much does it impress? And the last year's application had like as Phil said, had quite a bit of wow factor.
Yeah. And with these apps that these teams create, are they just for competition use, or are they actually put into purchase mode where they're like everybody can use them and they're available?
Well, to some degree, it's with it just being a weekend event, it's really hard to make something that's really probably ready for public consumption in a weekend. So you kind of have to scope the project to just to make sure you can finish it in the weekend. There was one app last year that I know they were going to work with the transportation department to maybe incorporate that. It was like a rideshare parking kind of application. But yeah, if we'd love to see more of the apps exist outside of the competition. I'm sure maybe sometimes school gets in the way of being able to actually finish it. But yeah. Yeah.
So you guys have flyers coming out already, and you said posters are going to be available on campus as well. So how do you promote this event to students all around the campus, besides posters and such?
Well, this is a great opportunity to promote our Appathon. Then we also, like I said, put the posters, the flyers. Then we've also sent out an email to the computer science and the ITM, information technology, management classes. And one of the professors actually puts it on his syllabus as something that a class needs to do. So we have an entire ITM class that has to come and participate in the Appathon. So that gets out, it's word of mouth, our sponsorships. Last year we actually had a front page article done by the Idaho Statesman on the Appathon. And then the university update. So it's just, we're very much in our grassroots of it. It's kind of building a life of its own, and we're just kind of following it.
Awesome. So there is something called Hack for It.
Yeah.
And can you, Phil, you seem very passionate about it. Can you explain what it is and actually when this event takes place?
Sure. So I don't know if you're familiar with Treefort Music Festival, but it's a part of Treefort Music Fest. And kind of similar how Treefort is trying to showcase our kind of local musical talent, and then bringing national artists to show off Boise and our music scene here. Hack for It in part is going to be kind of similar goals. It's going to be comprised of a 2-day lecture series, and then we're going to have a workshop. 2 workshops actually, one on hardware where people will be constructing a hardware kit, like a musical instrument, like a synth or a drum machine. And then there's going to be a software track too, where people are going to basically just get together and hack on something, hopefully make something cool for Treefort. And yeah, we've had great support in the community, and I think people are excited about it. So.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So you mentioned lectures. There's 2-day lectures.
Sure.
What is the content in these lectures, and then who or what type of people speak at these lectures?
Right. So it's broken into 2 themes. One day is going to be like an education theme, hopefully asking the questions as what do we need to be doing as an institution and as a city to get more women involved in STEM. What do we need to do to keep our talent here in town rather than moving to Silicon Valley or move into Portland or Seattle or Denver? And then we really just want to increase, continue to evolve like an ecosystem of innovation here in Boise. So that was kind of the big point of the lecture series, is just to start that conversation. And then the next theme is going to be more about just like innovation, and we're having speakers from Oracle and IBM, and some great national and local talent. So,
awesome.
Yeah.
So those talent, do they put on the workshops as well?
Yeah, so we have one of the senior engineers from Micron Technology is going to be putting on the hardware workshop, and it's going to be probably limited space. We'll be giving away these kits, essentially. People just have to sign up, and basically just stepping, through constructing like a synthesizer or a drum machine from a whole bunch of parts into something that actually works. And there'll be 2 workshops, one targeted towards middle-aged kids, and then high school and up. So
awesome.
Yeah.
So how is Hack for It connection working with the Appathon? Like, is there a connection there?
Yeah, well, we definitely like to showcase the talent that comes out of the Appathon. We're definitely planning on kind of showing off the winning app and getting them up on stage, and really just promoting the Appathon and showing what great talent we have here at Boise State. And if we can make that a part of Hack for It and just showcase what we have going on here, then it'll be partially mission accomplished.
Great. So since you both are obviously very involved with the Appathon, being on staff, and Phil, you are a participant, can you explain your personal experiences that you've had with the Appathon and what you enjoy and take from it, just being a part of it?
Well, I'm the primary planner of the Appathon, and for me, it's kind of like you build something or you develop something and you nurture it and you just keep seeing it grow and grow, and it's just, I love to sit back and just watch what goes on. I don't understand half of what they're doing when they're coding, they're pulling different libraries and they're doing this. That's not my part. My part is the fact that I get to sit back, watch the enjoyment. And like I said before, the first year everything was secluded and quiet and secretive. And last year, it was an open party type atmosphere. And just to see that difference from year to year, I'm anxious to see what happens this year, because I think it's just going to continue to be more and more fun. There is so much bonding that happens internally within our department. We're the Office of Information Technology. We are in like 14 different locations around campus. And so when we have these volunteers come in, there are people that are working the same shift that don't see each other and don't know each other, and they get to meet each other. And we're in the same department. So I guess the personal aspect and the personal relationships that I'm seeing is what I enjoy the most.
Awesome.
Yeah, and as a participant, it's just, it's kind of an extreme event. I mean, you're basically trying to make a product from start to finish in 48 hours. And just to work with the team to kind of split up the way, find ways you can split up the project and then have it come together in the end and hopefully have it working is a pretty great feeling when it comes together. And just the fact that the camaraderie, I think, is really neat to basically be forced to be with your team for 48 straight hours. You kind of go through some highs and lows throughout the evening. But yeah, I think like Karen said, I think just the camaraderie, seeing teams come together, the sharing of ideas, and then like everyone's a really great sport, and the judging part of it. And yeah, I don't know, it was really great to see everyone kind of cheer each other on. And so that was probably the most interesting aspect.
So with the teams, while they're in competition, do they have any resources that are available to them, or is it just strictly everything that they've learned through their education?
I would say primarily, you bring to the event the tools you use and are most comfortable with. There are people there to offer guidance, but a lot of times they'll be working with something that no one's really familiar with, as far as like maybe it's a software library that there's so many out there. It's hard to give particular advice on how to implement something, but yeah, as far as like general leadership and best practice advice, I think we have people on staff that are ready to help out.
Wonderful. So since they're just stuck in the ILC kind of for the whole weekend, are people from the public allowed to come and watch this happen, or is it just a completely closed event?
No, like I said before, there are classes happening. So we have other students that absolutely don't have any idea what's going on. They're just seeing this massive amount of people coming in and out of a room with food or with drinks, or they're seeing videos. Like we have our home base room and we have all kinds of videos going on so we can watch movies. And because it's just, we're there to be moral support. But the building it's a public campus. The building is open. We do have to have a security guard on duty between 10 p.m. and 6 a.m. Due to the safety of everybody involved. So we actually hire a security guard to monitor the front door, and we close all the rest of the doors. But we don't restrict anybody from coming in. Well,
and definitely the kind of the judging at the end. It seems like it's a real public event. People from various departments on campus come to see what people have worked on. I mean, that's generated a lot of curiosity. And if this year's anything like last year, the judging part of it will probably be a pretty packed house.
So with the judging, is everyone just brought together, or do the judges go to each specific room, team room, to judge them individually?
What we do is we actually are going to be having our judging in the Interactive Learning Center, room 118, which is a large auditorium on the first room. All of the judging and presentations will happen in that room, and we draw. Everybody has to submit their applications by 11 a.m. on Sunday. And if for some reason something happens, they're not able to submit their application, no fault, no foul. They just do not get entered into the prize winnings. So we don't hold that against anybody. We've actually had people that say, I just can't do it. And, it's like, no problem. But after all the submissions have been submitted, then we turn around and we draw. And in the order that we draw are the presentations. They're allowed 5 minutes for the presentation. And, we go through at the beginning of each opening session to let them know the practices, best practices from the previous year. And last year we had one team that really took to heart the fact that they are presenting to possible future employers. So they were in suits and ties and dresses. And then we had some teams that didn't look like they had showered since the Friday before the Appathon. So there's that whole gambit range, but it's one room, all of the presentations, and they have the 5 minutes to judge, and then the judges combine their scores, and we come up with our winners.
So with these judges, is there a multitude, a set number? Do you hand pick them, or is it just you reach out to the company or organization and they send a representative? How does it work?
The companies that donate to fund the Appathon are given the opportunity to provide judges. And there are some companies that we will take 1, 2, maybe 3 judges from. And it's not a hard, fast rule that if somebody says they're going to come judge, we sure hope they are, because it's all volunteering and it's on a Sunday afternoon. But in the past, we usually have anywhere from 12 to 15 judges.
Wow. That's quite a lot of judges for one app. So when the students and the teams do their presentations, is it all like PowerPoint? Like, are people able to see what their app can do and interact with it, or is it just all verbal?
I would say a lot of it's PowerPoint and mixed in with, typically a demo of how the application works. The one that won last year was kind of the first of its kind, where people in the audience actually got to use the app too, which was, I think, what really set them apart. It's typically PowerPoint.
Fantastic. Yeah. Do you guys know of any students who've participated in the Appathon that have gotten jobs or internships from this?
Definitely. I got a job,
Phil was a participant in our very first Appathon. He was a student at the time and then got on as, he's now a full-time benefited employee with Boise State.
Fantastic.
Yeah, and the winning team from last year, Boise State hired all of them except for maybe one who
graduated
and went on to do other things. But all 3 of the winning team from last year, 3 of the 4, I guess, are working for Boise State. So, yeah.
Do you know of any other universities that are doing a similar thing like Appathon for students, trying to get them more involved and using what they practice?
I think when Max originally approached me about the idea, it was something that he had read from a university back east. I want to say somewhere in the Pennsylvania area, but I'm not sure. It was something similar, but it's not exactly what we're doing. I think they maybe had it maybe it was a 6-hour event or something along that line. I don't think it was to the magnitude of what we're doing.
Very cool. So since the Appathon is obviously growing in every single area between judges and getting nationwide recognition from major organizations and companies, how do you see this progressing over the years?
I don't see it going away, but I guess I am still just, I don't have the mind expansion. I know it's going to expand, and I can't grasp my mind about how it's going to do it. We're ultimately, space-wise, we are constricted on how much we can do. And so if it's going to continue to grow, we're going to have to start looking at larger venues, maybe, hosting it off-site, because, I don't know if the student union would be able to come in, that type of stuff. But we want to, the centralized location of where we're having it, I think, is one of the benefits. That's people, students are familiar with it. They've got all of their, if they live on campus, they can go home and shower. They can go to the rec center and shower. Anything like that. But I know it's just going to continue growing, and we'll just have to, we'll have growing pains with it.
Well, and I think you've definitely seen the sophistication of the apps increase from year one to year two, for sure. People that participated in year one and then participated in year two kind of understood, the sophistication needed to win the Appathon. And so, I'm sure we'll just see that continue to increase as well. And hopefully we'll see more and more people being discovered from it, and it's a great way to make an impression. If you see a company that's judging at the Appathon and you're about to graduate, that might be one of the first places I try to apply, just because they're familiar with the Appathon and they might even remember what your app is or who you are. So,
well, I know in the years past, after the the awards have been done, you can't get people out of the room because you've got the participants talking with the judges, and the judges searching out particular participants. So you can see that networking beginning. And there are people that I'm seeing come back from previous years that are registering again, but they're now an intern for one of the companies that was a sponsor from previous years. So I'm seeing that connection. And that's exactly what this whole thing is about, is just making a connection between our students and the local companies.
Fantastic. Well, Karen and Phil, thank you guys so much for answering all these questions and just getting us more educated on the Appathon, and that it's coming up really soon, actually, March 7th and the 9th. So that's coming up really quick.
Yes, it is.
But thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. And thank you guys so much for tuning in to University Television Presents. My name is Ashley Cox, and we'll see you next time.